All right, folks, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered for Tuesday, March 12, 2019. Woo, some rich white folks are shaking in their boots today. FBI, Department of Justice, announced a major college cheating scandal. Y'all know what no black people paying $500,000 to get their dumbass kids into school. But all these rich white folks, including 2 Hollywood actresses, have been one arrested, one charged. Wait until we break down to you these indictments, folks. Up to $25 million in fraud committed. Ooh, this is about to be delicious. More white privilege. This white girl in Atlanta kills 3 people. All her ass get is probation, and she gonna have a driver's license back next year. Yeah, she white. Wouldn't happen to black people. Speaking of what happens to white people, not black people, Tucker Carlson, his ass still got a job, even though new audio surface is showing he's racist, misogynistic, and Islamophobic. Let's break that thing down as well. Plus, a racist EMT who lives in Virginia gets fired months after his racist comments surfaced. We've got the audio. And remember that crazy white dude who acted a fool at McDonald's? Yeah, the one who went after the sister. He going to jail. I keep telling y'all, crazy white people, keep acting the fool, something gonna happen to y'all. And is it okay to shame your children on social media? By cutting their hair, make them look like George Jefferson? Some black parents are doing it, and some psychologists say it's a bad idea. I don't know. Act a fool in class, you might get that weird haircut. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the fine. And when it breaks, he's right on time, and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, folks, this morning, indictments came down. 50 people charged, including 33 parents. No kids were charged in a major college bribery scandal. I've been waiting all day to talk about this story. None of these folks are black. Some $25 million in fraud. Folks paying upwards of $1 million to get their dumbass kids in elite universities. And I'm calling them dumbass kids for a reason, because they couldn't get in anywhere else. Here is a U.S. attorney from Boston, Andrew Lelling.
Today we have charged 33 parents nationwide with hiring Singer's Group to defraud testing companies and/or various universities. These parents are a catalog of wealth and privilege. They include, for example, CEOs of private and public companies, successful securities and real estate investors, 2 well-known actresses, a famous fashion designer, and the co-chairman of a global law firm.
And the real victims in this case are the hardworking students who did everything they could to set themselves up for success in the college admissions process, but ended up being shut out because far less qualified students and their families simply bought their way in.
At the center of the scandal is William Singer, a well-connected admission advisor. He is pled guilty, and oh, is he singing to the feds. He took in some $25 million between 2011 and 2018. Here's how this whole crooked operation worked. They faked sports resumes, bribed coaches to get kids in as recruits on things like volleyball, tennis, or even crew. I know, we don't do crew. Okay, they bribed SAT test proctors to provide right answers or let smarter kids substitute. In addition to that, what they also did, some of them even had their kids qualify as for special education, which gave them more time in a private setting to take the test. And that's where you would even have grades, scores change. Now, the schools, Wake Forest, Yale, Stanford, University of Southern California, University of Texas, Georgetown, UCLA, University of San Diego, and others. Now, among the folks charged, actresses Felicity Huffman, you've seen her Real Housewives. Also, Lori Loughlin played Aunt Becky from Full House. Yeah, Aunt Becky in trouble. Husband is fashion designer Massimo Giannulli. Now, check this out, y'all. You know your daughter's dumb as hell. They paid $500,000 to get two of their daughters into USC. Now, one of them, the YouTube star Olivia Jade, this is what she had to say last year with regards to college.
I don't know how much of school I'm going to attend, but I'm going to go in and talk to my deans and everyone and hope that I can try and balance it all. But I do want the experience of like game days, partying. I don't really care about school, as you guys all know.
Okay. After she did that, folks lit her up on social media. She came back and apologized a couple of days later. But y'all, her mama now facing jail and her daddy, prison time. And she said, I ain't trying to go to class. I don't care about school. I want to go for game days and parties. Your ass could have went to game day and parties without me dropping $500,000 for you and your dumb sister. Other folks charged include a hedge fund partner, the head of a major global law firm. One family paid $1.2 million to get their kid into Yale with a fake athlete scam. The coach took hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes. Now, folks, here's the deal here, okay? When you talk about this whole scandal here, this is nothing new. The reality is white folks been dropping lots of money for years to get their kids into school. In fact, in the news conference today, the U.S. attorney even made reference to this wasn't basically paying for buildings. They were actually bribing people, including one senior USC athletic department official. Now, why is this significant? Because the reality is you got Jared Kushner, who's sitting in the White House. His daddy basically bought his way into Harvard. And if he really want to be honest, Donald Trump, daddy bought his way into Wharton. Now, you didn't have a situation like bribes, but we know these other parents who have done this. But see, I find all of this quite delicious. Because remember that little white girl, Mary Fisher? Remember the one who sued the University of Texas because she said some minority folks, black kids and Latinos, got into the university because of race. That's why she didn't get in. Went all the way to the Supreme Court and she was crying. She had to go to the University of Michigan. And then they found out that there were some white kids who had worse grades than hers who got into the University of Texas. I wonder what she's got to say about this here. And we also have people who love to make these comments about affirmative action and you don't belong here. But we've always known a bunch of white kids who bought their way into universities because mama and daddy had a checkbook. Now, 15 years ago, 2004, at the Uni Journalists of Color Convention, President George W. Bush was there. At the time, the University of Michigan affirmative action case was making its way through the court system. It had gotten to the Supreme Court. He was asked questions by 4 people, all of us members of minority journalism associations. I was chosen to represent the National Association of Black Journalists. At the time, had just taken over as executive editor of the Chicago Defender. We talked about affirmative action, but I asked Bush a question about legacy, which nobody ever likes to bring up. Press play.
You said, quote, quotas. You said, quote, quotas are an unfair system for all, unquote, with regards to your opposition to affirmative action.
No, whoa. With regard to my opposition to quota systems.
To quotas, okay. But I've never heard you speak against legacy. Now, the president of Texas A&M, Robert Gates, said that he would not use race in admissions, and then he later said he would not use legacy. If you say it's a matter of merit and not race, shouldn't colleges also get rid of legacy? And because that's not based upon merit, that's based upon if my daddy or my granddaddy went to my college.
Yeah, I thought you were referring to my legacy.
Y'all just hear Bush? I thought you were referring to my legacy. Okay? Bush is about to tell on himself, y'all. Press play.
That's why I allowed you to go ahead and bring it out.
Yeah. Well, In my case, I had to knock on a lot of doors to follow the old man's footsteps.
Daddy played baseball at Yale. He had to knock on some doors? No. Daddy knocked on some doors to get son into Yale and also into Harvard Business School, because we all know George W. Bush didn't have the grades. Continue.
No, look, if what you're saying is there going to be special treatment for people, if there was, we're going to have a special exception for certain people in a system that's supposed to be fair, I agree. I don't think there ought to be.
So the colleges should get rid of legacy?
Well, I think so, yeah. I think it ought to be based upon merit, and I think it also be based upon... Yeah. And I think colleges need to work hard for diversity. No, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. You said against affirmative action is what you said. You put words in my mouth. What I am for is diversity.
I just read the speech, Mr. President.
What speech?
In terms of when you came out against the Michigan affirmative action policy.
No, I said I was against quotas.
So you support affirmative action but not quotas?
I support colleges affirmatively taking action to get more minorities in their school.
That's a long headline, Mr. President.
I support diversity. I don't support quotas. I think quotas are wrong. I think quotas are wrong for people.
But
and so do a lot of people.
But just to be clear, you believe that colleges should not use legacy?
I think colleges ought to use merit in order for people to get in, and I think they ought to use a merit system like the one I put out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me.
Now, the next day, the New York Times had an article about that exchange. And what ended up happening, you had parents, you had folks who were graduates of places like Harvard and Yale who lit the phone lines up saying, are y'all going to change the legacy policy after what Bush said yesterday? The reality is they did not. But legacy has been a way in which white kids who do not have the grades, but because mama and daddy went to those schools, that's how they have been able to get into these elite institutions. This scandal is blowing the lid on this, and it's not just this case. Now the question then becomes, how are white folks using their money to bribe their way essentially through other means to get their kids into not just the elite universities, but frankly, any university? Oh, let's go ahead and have some fun with this. On our far left, we have, of course, our far right, Monique Presley. She's legal analyst and crisis manager, so we certainly appreciate her being on the show. We also have Aris Foley, social media curator of The Hill, Malik Abdul, Republican communications consultant. Also, Erica Savage Wilson, host Savage Politics Podcast. All right, who wants to start?
I'll go. So, I don't think it's fair to characterize this as race. I think this is more so an issue of class than it is race.
Do you see any black people?
Well, that's...
Do you see any Latino people?
No, not.
Do you see any Asian people?
Not in this particular scandal. But if we're talking,
are we seeing largely white people?
If we're talking about,
I'm just asking. Are we seeing?
Well,
hold up. You said characterize it. Are we seeing largely white people?
Yeah. Well, of course.
Are these rich white people?
They sure are.
So we can use class and race.
Well.
Yeah. If they white. And they got money.
But you're couching this as this is something like, look at what white people are doing. I think this is something that's actually based on class. I'll disagree and push back a little. I don't think that because their kids weren't able to get into these elite schools that they're dumb. I don't think that at all. And as a real life home example, this is actually something similar to what's happening here in D.C., where our Attorney General went after parents whose kids, and I think this particular case was Duke Ellington. There were kids, it's a residency requirement. There were a lot of kids who didn't meet the residency.
No. See, here's the deal.
So what is that?
No. So one of my producers wanted to bring up the sister in Ohio who went to jail for use of address. No. We ain't talking about residency.
But that's access.
No. See, we're not going. See, here's the deal. We're not going to talk about use of address. What we have here are rich white folks.
But I don't think it's because I don't think it's a rich white people thing. I don't think
anybody else want to go ahead and jump in. Y'all go ahead.
Sasha Obama.
I want to jump in.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say something on Roland Martin Unfiltered that we don't envision me saying. I agree with Malik.
You do envision us. We all envision us saying that.
No, we don't.
Yes,
we do.
No. Here's the thing. Unless what you're prepared to say Roland, as host, is that there are no rich black people who, for the past however many years black people have been obtaining large amounts of money, haven't used that money and influence in order to get their siblings and family members into schools, then this isn't just a rich white folks issue.
I will say it's a rich white folks issue when it's largely white folks who do this. And same thing with legacy.
But this is a case, you're saying largely, I'm surprised at you right now because
I'm saying largely.
You're not giving me any numbers.
I'm gonna give you this number. I'm gonna give you this number here. One of those girls,
this is a sting.
one of the students scored in the mid 600s on the ACT. Wait a minute. Duke University told us they didn't want anything below a 750. She scored in the mid 600s. The reality is she couldn't get in.
Okay.
I'm using dumb for a reason because the reality is these students did not even remotely have the skill set. In fact, one of the women who got her daughter in, she sent a writing sample for her son who she wanted to use the same bribery scandal. The boy could barely write. But some of them are dumb.
But there
Go
are
ahead.
students, and I don't, listen, I wouldn't want my 18 and 19-year-old being called dumb. I have a child with special needs, so I take exception to them.
Some of these folks are dumb.
Needs. Well, there are people of color who have scores in those range who are admitted to those schools through affirmative action programs, and they're not dumb.
No, I'm calling these folks dumb
when their
own parents are saying, my child, Lord, I don't know what to do with them. I mean, reading this document was utterly hilarious to see these parents who literally like, yeah, my child, I don't know what to do with them, but let me just get them in.
And that was a crime.
Erica, go ahead.
Sure, and exactly, Monique, it is a crime. I'm glad that, though, this actually has risen to the top. There was a lot of conversation on Twitter about this, and risen to the top because people of color are actually validated, and the whole system of meritocracy being the reasoning for why we're not allowed through these doors that are usually scaled for only the elite. So in that lens, I absolutely am glad that this is something that people are talking about, that any parent or person that would pay upwards of $6.5 million for admission for their child into a school for status is something that definitely needs to be broken out.
Here, go to my iPad. Jane Buckingham, she is the CEO of a California marketing boutique agency. This is from the actual statement from the Department of Justice. This is the writing sample of her son, and she sent to the dude who was behind this scheme. He said, good luck with this. Go on right ahead, comment.
Me?
Yes, you're next.
Good luck with this?
No, just in terms of this whole, how I just find it hilarious. Again, like one person, they dropped $1.2 million to get their kid to sneak him into Georgetown under like a tennis or swimming scholarship, and they didn't even play tennis or they didn't even swim.
Yeah, I think I'm going to differ. I'm going to agree.
Go ahead.
Roland. I do think that it is more of a, not just a class issue, but I do think it's also a race issue. I think it is notable that it is not just predominantly, it's only white privileged people who are the ones that are benefiting from this system. I think it's interesting too, given the fact that I think in 1996, is that what you were speaking to about the affirmative action?
Yeah, the Bear Fisher case.
Yeah, it just seems like kind of like, you know, we're trying to rule out those types of things, and we're still like allowing these types of avenues where people who are underprivileged are still disadvantaged from even getting opportunities to get into these types of elite schools already from the jump. But then there's also still these programs that, I mean, well, not programs. I'm sure it's not that. I mean, well, it did seem organized, though, in the report where we're allowing, well, there's like a secret program that's like allowing students to
This thing was so organized.
It was
how they
organized,
did it.
but obviously this is when it like came out in the focus, and that's why they're getting indicted, because it is illegal.
It was so organized. Yeah. What they were doing, in some cases, they were literally, like one person, they literally created this entire athletic resume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of awards, of honors, and then the USC athletic department official responded, wow, that this was so good, use this one again. They even had fake photos of one person had their son pole vaulting, wasn't even their son in the picture. I mean, they created, so they had crew, they had volleyball. You had Stanford fired that particular coach, University of Texas tennis coach, put on suspension again. And then some of the coaches, one of the coaches, he himself got $400,000 as a result of this. Right. I mean, so and all day social media has been burning up because all of these years is always, you only here because of your skin color, the affirmative action program. And we all went to school. We knew there were some white kids who had no business being in school, and we know how they got into school. And so what this does is exposes this. And so I'm loving it. Then Fredo, Donald Trump Jr., actually tweeted about Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman saying Hollywood. And I'm like, Fredo, you should go fishing. Because don't get us talking about how your daddy got into school. Like, you might want to sit this one out, Fredo.
But I don't think we have to actually focus on Trump here. And again, going back to Monique's point.
No, I'm only raising the point that his son tweeted and wants to chime in.
Yeah.
We know his daddy ain't the brightest bulb in a dark room.
Yes, but if we're talking about who gets into what university or not, I can assure you that the black kids at Sitwell, Murray, National Cathedral, any of these
How
schools...
many go there? 3?
Quite a few.
I was about to say that.
3? I mean, first of all, when the Obama girls went there, how many go there? About 5 or 6?
I've known quite a few, and it's not a single digit, and probably not even a double-digit number.
No, you ain't gonna find 100 black kids at Sitwell.
Well, I don't know if you'll find 100 black kids at Sitwell,
you ain't gonna find 75.
But the idea is that they're in.
You ain't gonna find 50 at Sitwell.
They're in these.
Yes, you will.
You might find 20.
They're in these.
You might want to go to Georgetown Prep.
They are in these environments because their parents have either access or, in some cases, their kids which is why I support things like school choice, they're kids who actually from Southeast, whose parents don't have that, who are able to get into these type of schools. The whole discussion is who gets into the school.
But I think the larger
Go ahead,
point
Erica.
is really spotlighting how privilege is actually working, and particularly in this climate, that's something that we can then take back to our children, our community, to say that even though you will have to continue to work twice as hard, there are these other things that have been exampled that we can show you that just because this door closes does not mean that you're not equally as smart, as intelligent, as best. So that,
And Malia Obama's kids, they will be able to get into these same schools.
No, hold on. See, here's the piece. There's a difference between people who can get into schools,
that's legacy.
Who have credentials.
Right, but that's legacy. What he was talking about was legacy. He's saying that because Malia Obama has graduated from Sidwell, that there will be a legacy component in it. Just like if my child, if one of them wants to go to Howard Law, the fact that I am a graduate is going to be recognized. It doesn't mean that they're going to automatically go in, but they damn sure better be paying attention to the fact that my child wants to come in.
But the reality is...
Texas A&M, same thing. So all I'm saying, Roland, is this was like a crime syndicate type way of people getting their children into school, but there's a difference between that and affluence and money.
Oh, no. I understand. I totally...
Black and white.
I know there's, first of all, I know there's a difference between that, but what I'm talking about, when you speak of elite schools, when you talk about these creme de la creme, the reality is we have small numbers of people who look like us. Let's just be real clear. We ain't talking about it's a hell of a whole lot, okay? If we talk about Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Dartmouth, Columbia, Cornell, Brown, University of Texas, whether you want to talk about Duke, I can go down the line. We are not talking about lots of black people. And what I'm saying is we are talking about a whole lot of white folks who do take advantage of that aspect of legacy. And what I'm saying is the issue for me, whether it's this or whether you talk about legacy, how it is weaponized against us as to, oh, how did you get here? Right. Oh, did you play football? No, you got here because your damn daddy went here. And I brought up Trump because the reality is ProPublica did a story on Jared Kushner and how he didn't have a grades to get into Harvard. But daddy all of a sudden dropped $1 million or so on a building, and all of a sudden presto, Jared's a Harvard student.
Yeah, but I don't think that would be any different if Jared's dad was black or Jared was black and had that same type of money and did that same thing. I don't think it would be any different. That child would be able to
point me the black boy who got in like that.
Roland, I don't know. I can't just point out some random person
I think
to
it's
just say
difficult
that.
too because we don't have numbers because this is something that is illegal activity. So it's hard to even gauge a scale because, I mean, you would have to uncover every single operation to even be able to look and point at a number like, oh, this is like, you know, black and white. I feel like if we're talking about this incident alone, this is like, I think there were, what, 55? Over 50 indictments in this case?
50 adults.
And they were all white.
Right. And now the question then becomes, what happens with the students? I say, throw them the hell out. What do y'all say?
Well, I say it depends on how they're doing it. I mean, however they...
If all of them got in, hold on. Guess what? If one of these kids played football and was black, and they were funneling money to an uncle, guess who gets suspended? Can't play ball.
Well, that's playing ball.
NCAA rules.
Yeah, but that's playing ball as opposed to the school.
That's NCAA rules.
Thing was about, as long as if this thing was about black people, what you're saying is they should
no.
get thrown
This is
out.
very simple.
Okay.
They got in under, as you said, a criminal syndicate. Gotta go. What do you think?
Well, under the auspices of sports scholarship, so I think that would then lend them to whatever the rules were.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say that.
But I'm talking about these kids. These kids right here. Should they be allowed to stay at the universities?
No, they should be dismissed because then that sends a larger message, which is the one we're seeing on a daily basis, is that really money and power rule over everything.
I'm going down the line. Okay. Malik, stay go.
Yeah, well, I think that they actually, depending on how they're doing in school, if they're meeting the requirements to actually stay in school, I think that they should actually stay in school. I don't think they should be kicked out because of something and how they got in. I think they should stay. And I would say that whether they're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever, I don't think that, well, yeah, but I wouldn't take that out on the kids at this point if they're performing in
Harris,
school.
stay go.
I think if it hasn't been determined that the kid has had any involvement in the wrongdoing, and again, performance-based too, so if this is something where they're not performing at adequate levels and it's been compensated by like monetary means.
Now, if they knew. Now, some of these kids, if you read the actual deal, some of these kids knew that people were taking the test.
Yeah, so
they knew what's going on. So this ain't like, I mean, they were not these innocent bystanders in this whole deal. Monique, stay go.
They were minors whose parents made decisions on their behalf. You see, the one child, she said quite plainly on YouTube, she wasn't interested in going to school. Her parents were the ones who wanted her to go. I don't think that it benefits anyone for 55 students, if that reflects the same amount as the parents, or 50 students to be uprooted from an education if, as she said, they are doing well in the education because of decisions their parents made when they were not yet at the age of adulthood. To me,
they are more than happy to transfer to a community college. They are more than happy to go to some other different school. But the reality is this here, and that is if you got into this school under fraudulent circumstances, you got to go. I ain't got no problem sending them home. No mercy indeed. Going to a break right now. We come back. We're going to talk about, the privileged white girl in Atlanta. 18 years old, killed 3 people, and she get probation and get her driver's license back next week. What's more, white affluenza? This is Roland Martin Unfiltered. Back in a moment. Hey, fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. Ooh, y'all, this little white girl here killed 3 people in 2007, a mother and her baby and a grandmother. She pleads guilty, could have gotten 3 years in jail, and said the judge gave her 3 years probation, and she can get her driver's license back in a year. Here's a picture of Zoe Reardon. Wonder where she's going to go to college. All right, go to our panel here. Now, this reminds me of the story in Fort Worth. Same thing. White boy, got money, okay, he kills a couple of people, acting a fool, drunk driving, and the judge, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and give you probation. Monique, you're a lawyer. I know you defend people. Is this class or is this white girl privilege? What is this? Is this white girl rock? What's this?
Well, look, it's color. Obviously, it's different than what we saw here in that you can see similar situations, same crimes or lesser crimes where people of color receive disproportionate charging, sentencing, punishment, and that's when it becomes very obvious. The fact that this was someone who was still a minor and the fact that it happened in front of this particular judge mattered. The fact that there were no prior offenses mattered. That's the way our judicial system works. The problem is it doesn't work that way for everyone. That's why you've got poor Jussie with a 16-count indictment. I know we're talking about it maybe later, but looking at upwards of 20 years for killing no one and having a crime perpetuated against himself if he did it, and you have a situation like this where people are dead and there will be no time served. So.
3 people are dead because she was texting while she was driving.
And I believe she got 36 months probation, which is really a slap in the face to the family. 36 months probation.
An infant child, I think, also.
Yeah.
Infant child killed.
Yeah. So, again, I mean, we just see the imbalance of our justice system. And as painful as all of these instances are, I think it's really important for all of us to really capture these, to be very, very ready that when it's time to go to the polls, that we're actually not only looking at the person, but we're looking at the policies that they're supporting as well. So,
I mean, she got the Paul Manafort hookup, Malik.
Well, I don't know if it's the Paul Manafort hookup, but
damn near close.
Well, Paul Manafort didn't kill anybody, so you know.
Yeah, he just defrauded up millions and millions. He only got 47 months, but she got 24 years. But go ahead.
Well, sure, but he still didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, okay. But she killed 3 people, and she actually gonna be free.
You know, there's nothing that I need to defend about it. You know, it doesn't. All of it sounds extremely suspect to me. We know the disparities in the system, and that's what people like Monique. You know, that's what we have defense lawyers who are out there, and I know many of them who are trying to do things to correct that type of imbalance. But this is what that is. You know, it's nothing to excuse or make any sort of apologies for anything. This is, you know, it seems suspect.
Eris reminds me of the white boy who raped a woman out there, the Stanford swimmer, and the judge is like, you know what?
Brock Turner, right?
You have such a bright future ahead of you, Brock. Just go ahead and go home.
I mean, just even looking at a photo of the Cherokee County Judge Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court in that particular area, it's not. Again, like, yes, it is terrible, but it's not entirely shocking. You know, we don't really have, I mean, there's still a lot of firsts happening. I think just last week, North Carolina just got its first black female
Supreme Court Justice.
Yes,
so
I read that up
Chief Supreme Court Justice, yeah.
Right, Chief Supreme Court Justice. It's not that entirely shocking. I think it just speaks to a larger point of having more people that look like us that are on the court.
But what really jumps out again is this is when for black folks who have to deal with this stuff every single day. When you see if somebody robbed something, came away with $5, and it was like, you know what, you had a prior offense, so therefore you're gonna go away for 20 years and you killed 3 people. The same thing with the kid, white affluenza, the judge pretty much like, well, yeah, he testified saying, you know, he's had a rough life because they got money. I mean, you know, that is this thing and what it speaks to in this society. I look at people who criticize Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when she talks about capitalism and she talks about wealth and privilege and money and power. The reality is rich folks, who mostly are white, buy their way out of stuff. That's why white folks still mad at OJ.
Black people do too.
No, hold up. Did you not hear what I just said?
I know you said
rich folks who are largely white. Hold up, Malik. What that means is there are some few people underneath that who are black, who are Latino. But the reality is, if you start counting stuff up, white folks are still mad at OJ because he actually one of the few black folks who actually bought his way out of a prison sentence.
Well, sure.
And they still mad at OJ.
But the fact is that there are more white people in America anyway. But I think, and it is to go back what Monique said earlier, you know.
Well, of course there are more white people in America, but there's also more white folks who actually have money and who use that money in order to get what they want.
Black people do too, though.
How many, Malik?
Lots of them.
No, ain't no damn lots.
Lots of them.
How many black people on a Fortune 500 list of the richest Americans? Okay. How many?
Well, I'm going to try to make it local.
4. Not 4. 4.
I can assure you that the opportunities that present themselves to the parents of our Mitchellville brothers and sisters out there in Prince George's County are not applicable to where I live in Southeast DC.
Let me help you out.
That's access,
them black folks in Mitchellville ain't rich.
We're not talking about rich. We're talking about
let me help you.
access. That's
Let me help
class.
you. Them black folks here ain't rich. You know why? Because in 2007, when the home foreclosure crisis hit, how many of them lost their damn homes? You know what they did? They actually were making money.
Well,
hold up. Making money and being rich and being wealthy are three separate things.
But
just like Chris Rock
access
said,
is
when
not a
Shaq,
thing of
he said when
riches.
Shaq signed his contract, he said Shaq ain't wealthy, Shaq rich. The dude who paid Shaq, he wealthy. And so what I'm saying
But those black parents, the kids of those black parents, they live in Mitchell. They live in
kids go to
Mitchellville.
Prince George's County Public School.
No,
they ain't going to private schools. A lot of them.
In this, are you kidding me, Roland?
Erica, go ahead. Erica, go ahead.
Juxtapose Zoe with the Khalif Browder, who passed away. He did 3 years.
Accused of stealing the backpack.
Accused of stealing the backpack.
Never went
3 years.
Never went to trial.
Never. 2 years of solitary confinement for being accused of stealing the
A backpack.
And then she only received 36 months probation.
She killed
those
3
are
people.
the grave inequalities that we're
Well,
dealing
again,
with.
and Monique can answer this because she's an attorney herself. Because a lot of times when we hear these type of discussions, we kind of lump everything together.
And we
I'm
should.
Just to ask Monique, is some of this about representation and having money to afford like really good attorneys? You know, does that factor at all into these type of things?
Right.
Which is also based
place
upon
versus
money.
another place.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things we've often talked about for several years on Roland shows is it really is as much justice as you can buy, and that is a sad fact of our criminal justice system. It's also a territorial jurisdiction type thing, because what happened to Khalif probably wouldn't have happened to him in the jurisdiction where she got the 36 months, because there would be a system where you're not stuck into general population and then isolated if you're a juvenile, and then, you know, end up like protected by suicide watch, and then ultimately, of course, he took his own life. But what you're looking at, obviously, is, I agree with you, what money can do, and I agree with Roland, there's more money on one side. But I frankly, I see and I live what Malik is saying about access being at certain levels. And the more affluent black people become, the more we utilize our affluence for access as well. And I don't think that that's a bad thing.
No, I didn't say it's a bad thing.
I think the only way to kind of level the playing field is for the black people with the access to make room for other black people to come in.
And also,
so I'm always, and also so that's why I don't argue against legacy.
No. And
come on in the room. I got an open door. Who's coming?
No, I argue against legacy when the same white folks who oppose affirmative action, who oppose remedies, don't say jack about legacy.
But not all white people oppose affirmative action, though.
Boy, damn it. Boy, really?
I mean, but they don't. Not all white people oppose affirmative action.
Let me tell you something.
Obviously, all white people don't.
Obviously, all white folks don't, but a hell of a whole lot of white folks do. But a whole lot of white folks in your party do.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. My ass.
Maybe so. I don't know what every white person in my party does.
Malik, we could sit
and I'm not here to articulate. I'm not here to articulate the Republicans' position on affirmative action.
Not the white folks whisperer, Roland.
Right. I'm not speaking for the white people in the Republican Party. But I do know that there are white people. There are white people who are supportive of affirmative action. So there is no blanket. I don't even know if it's a few. Even there are a lot of white Democrats who are supportive of
but it's a whole guess what? But a lot of white folks in your party who actually will not stand up. And again, I'm speaking from history. When Bill Gates was the president of Texas A&M, when I was one of the folks said, okay, you don't want to use racial admissions, what the hell are you going to do about legacy? And then when he went out there and announced it, all them white folks at Texas A&M lost their damn mind when he stood up and said, you know what? Y'all don't want me to use affirmative action. We're not going to factor in legacy. Guess what? It was about, if you had 100 people standing up, 98 of them were white, one was black, and one was Latino. So that way you can't say all. Go on to a break. We'll be back. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered.
I'm fooling with you, Roland.
We can't rely on anyone but ourselves to define our existence, to shape the image of ourselves. Filmmaker Spike Lee.
All right, folks. Of course, 2019, it is March, and we're getting close, of course, to beach season. It's almost time. I don't know, because in D.C., I know if I got one more day, I got to wear fleece and scarves and hats and gloves and wool. I'm going to have to cuss somebody out. But a lot of us are getting ready, of course, for the spring and the summer, and we're trying to get ourselves healthy, well, looking good, feeling good, and, of course, that means dropping some weight. And one of the ways you can do so is trying the D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse. They have 27 different cleanses that you can try in order for you to remove the toxicity from your body. A lot of the fried foods, processed food that we love, well, this is one way for you to also remove that and get you some energy back and stop dragging your behind around. Now, again, you want to lose those stubborn pounds, you can go to dherbs.com. That's dherbs.com. Use the promo code Roland when you check out. You can also call 1-866-4-DHERBS, 1-866-4-DHERBS. Using the promo code Roland. I've tried it 3 different times, and it's pretty good, and so worked out well for me, and it can also work out well for you. And so we certainly appreciate D-Herbs, black-owned company, being one of the partners here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. Oh, let's talk about privilege and white people and race. That means it's the Tucker Carlson segment. Talk about being an equal opportunity racist. More audio has surfaced from Media Matters with him calling into a shock jock radio show from 2006 to 2011. Now, the audio starts with Tucker trashing people from Iraq, but it don't take him long to get to black people.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
Hey, and the way they treat women, I agree with you. Their culture is, but you're in their homeland, and you're over there as an American who they hate, and they want nothing more than the Americans off of their soil. So they're not going to play games.
They can just shut the fuck up and obey, is my view.
How could you salvage Iraq at this point?
I don't, it's beyond our control. I mean, if somehow the Iraqis decided to behave like human beings or something, He'd need to say, look, I'm a bigot, okay? I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can come whatever the fuck you want.
And at this juncture, you could say that and not catch a lot of shit for it.
You certainly could. I'd vote for you if you said that. White men have, they've contributed some, I would say, like creating civilization and stuff. I think they've done a pretty, I don't know, whatever.
Obama would kick your ass playing basketball.
Yeah, of course he would. Play basketball, come on.
He's black, say it. He's a real brother. Hey, do you think?
I don't know how black he is. How is he black? For one thing, he has one white parent, one black parent.
Well,
so that makes him. Why isn't he white? There's some really good, immigrants. I just think it's, people who come to this country ought to have something to offer. Be hot, be really smart. You know what I mean?
Where could we send his ass back to? Now, of course, he defended his comments on the air by saying that, hey, well, this is the left trying to attack me. It's all about free speech. He said, Fox stands with me. A lot of advertisers have not, though. Only one major advertiser was on his show last night, and folks have been targeting him to lose the others. All right, panel. So, he initially said his comments were naughty. They're not.
It's supposed to be toughness, right? He dismissed it as him being tough, and this is just the mob coming after him, the left mob. But it's kind of shocking that Fox News hasn't. Okay, I know I might earn some smacks of the lips, but I think it's a little shocking that Fox News hasn't come out ahead of this though. Just because like with Jeanine Pirro from last week, usually when their hosts I think make something that is completely racist.
Okay, Jeanine Pirro.
But it came with Jeanine Pirro
got
and
a
Alon
weekend
Omar.
show.
Yeah, that's true too.
He's a weekday show in the slot where Bill Riley was.
Yeah.
And she said it on the show.
Huh?
And she said it
Right,
contemporaneously.
and she said it on the show. These were comments that he made to a shock jock at the time when he had
13 years
an
ago.
MSNBC show. Again, which I keep telling y'all is, if you want to talk about not class, white folk. You got to be white when you get a show. When you have a show on CNN and it get canceled, and that show on MSNBC and it get canceled, and a show on PBS and it get canceled, and then you go along and Fox give you a weekend show, you didn't get a weekday show. Please show me somebody black who got that kind of track record. But anyway, Eric, go ahead.
Well, let's just hope he doesn't run for president, because we know that the current White House occupant had this very same trajectory when he would call in to the shock jock. Howard Stern, and just make comments not only about his, interludes, but then about his daughter as well. So to me, it's just par for the course with Fox and Tucker Carlson.
I think it's the comments that he made are inappropriate. I think, what has happened now is that he's refusing to apologize. I think he should apologize, just like I think that Judge Janine, whatever name, Pirro, she should apologize. But I'm pretty consistent with this. So I was consistent in saying that Joy Reid should have apologized for the homophobic comments that she made, because there's an actual history there. I was critical of the comments that Kevin Hart made, his homophobic comments that he actually never apologized for. I'm critical of Tucker Carlson. I'm critical of Ginny. I'm critical of
here. Tucker went homophobic, Islamophobic, racist,
criticized all of
sexist.
it.
I mean, damn, did he miss anybody?
But I'm saying, my point here is that
did he miss short people? Did he miss anybody? I think he probably hit not even the trifecta. He just just hit all of the buttons. Let me just hit everybody.
But what happens is that we play this game of tit for tat. Last week we were on the show.
Hold on, stop. Who plays tit for tat?
We. It was when we were having these type of discussions.
Let's talk about Tucker Carlson, who last week criticized comments Joe Biden made in the past.
Right.
Tucker Carlson, who slammed Samantha Bee for using the C word in response to about Ivanka, but he also used the C word in the audio as well. And so he is someone who is beyond a hypocrite, who is trash, who will sit here and say things and trash other people, but then go, I've got free speech. Damn it, I should be able to say what I want to say.
He's a hypocrite like so many people. And so when I say that these are things that we do, we try to figure out, okay, well, when something happens, like for instance, when the comments of Omar, the representative Omar, the discussion was, okay, well, they're hypocritical for criticizing her because they didn't criticize Donald Trump, or they didn't criticize some other. But again, that's that's the tit for tat.
It's not tit for tat. It's yes or no.
We saw the same thing with Ralph Northam. And Ralph Northam and Justin Fairfax. Well, look at them. They're trying to get Justin Fairfax out of there, but look at Ralph Northam. These are the things
you look at both at one time, Monique.
I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think we can.
I don't know if some of them can, Monique.
So when I was on Tucker's show and he was talking about some comments that Congresswoman Waters made, which maybe was my first time on. What I said to him was, so because she's made these comments, does this mean that she shouldn't be able to serve because she was elected to office? And he said, no, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is she made these comments. I don't like them. I think they're despicable. And I have an opportunity now and I get to talk about them. So, and I agree. He's made some comments that are despicable, and either he apologizes or he doesn't. He has the free speech to make them. We have the right to criticize that he's done it. Fox is not the government. He's not an elected official. They answer to their audience and their sponsors. And if their audience doesn't like it, I mean, they are state-sponsored television anyway. And what he's saying is kind of right in line with what they do. So I didn't expect Fox to do anything about this, but I also think that I'm consistent in that I didn't think Kevin Hart should have to do another apology.
But he didn't do the first one.
Well, no, but he said he did, and I'm going to believe him. And I didn't think that he should have had to step down for the Oscars for things that he said a long time ago. I was glad MSNBC stood behind Joy Reid and that she did apologize, and appropriately so, but then moved on from it. And I didn't think she should lose her job for it. I don't think when people are charged with conduct from 20 years ago, uncharged misconduct, and they can't be sent to jail for it, and there can be no trial for it, and there's no investigation, that they should lose their lives. So as much as Tucker really just kind of gives me the nasties,
go and actually watch that show.
We should, I believe, be consistent across the board. He's that shock jock guy.
And let's be real consistent here. This fool, this asshole, has no job. That's right. From Patrick County, Virginia. Guess what? This EMT is fired more than 3 months after this audio of his white supremacist podcast surfaced. Warning, it is absolutely vicious racism, which means he might be a Fox News contributor next week.
Well, when I was the manager at a pizza joint as a teenager, we had this kid with Down syndrome who came in and worked a couple hours every week, and you're allowed to pay them less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
So is that going to apply here?
Will it matter? I mean, will blacks work? That's the thing.
Implying
like an actual Downy will actually has a better work ethic than your average nigger. I mean, why do you think they call them niggers? We don't call the retardeds niggers. We call the niggers niggers.
we call them retards, but
we call them retards, but we don't just
call them niggers. Just call them niggers. Call your ass fired. The Jeb Stewart Volunteer Rescue Squad voted unanimously Sunday to terminate Alice McNabb. They didn't want people to think they might not get equal treatment from their EMTs. You think? They also might want to think about changing the name for the rescue squad. Jeb Stewart was a traitor who was a Confederate general. It's a good start. Remember the crazy-ass white man who reached across his counter and went after the sister, and then she just proceeded to whoop his ass?
John! Wait! Hey, come!
Well, the man, Daniel Willis Taylor, was angry because he couldn't find a straw for his drink. For that, punk ass going to jail for 60 days and a $1,000 fine. Yasmin James, she had some boxing training. As we all saw, she told Blavity, I'm not only physically hurt, but I'm emotionally hurt that I was left to defend myself even as I was surrounded by my co-workers. And she's right. Those are some sorry-ass co-workers who grabbed her when they should have grabbed the crazy white dude. But I wonder if he's going to be asking for a straw in jail. All right. Y'all know what time it is.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, bro.
Illegally selling water without a permit?
On my property.
Whoa! Hey! Give us your rights!
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
Well, the black jaguar at the Wildlife World Zoo, Aquarium, and Safari Park in Litchfield Park, Arizona, stood his damn ground. Leanne, crazy-ass white woman, decided her ass wanted a selfie. That's her right there. She wanted a selfie with the jaguar. Do y'all understand a damn jaguar? A jaguar. Her ass crosses the barrier. Do we have a video of her crying after she got bit? Y'all don't have, damn it. Anyway, y'all, the zoo announced they're not going to put the jaguar down, and the jaguar was reportedly said shouldn't have crossed her ass over that barrier. Next time, Munchie going to get all the way. I have absolutely no sympathy for photographing Patty. None. None whatsoever. I have no sympathy. I don't give a damn if she got chewed up. I don't care how long her injuries are. If your dumb ass so stupid that you gonna cross a barrier at the zoo where there's a jaguar, every injury your dumb ass got was well earned. Like them fake ass medals Sherry Clark got. You earned that medal. So whatever scar you got, I got no sympathy. In fact, they should have made her pay for the damn cleanup at the zoo and everything else for being so damn stupid. What? Your ass trying to get a selfie with a jaguar.
This is just craziness, Roland.
No, this white. No, this ain't class. This ain't crazy. This is white.
Perhaps
because black people be like, barrier. You know what? I'm good. I'm good.
I'm glad they're not putting the jaguar down. So that is the best news in all of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was the gorilla? What, did they put him down?
Yeah, they put him down because some other fool wanted a damn photo. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead. I don't, Look, I'm sorry, okay? Everybody sitting there, I saw the video.
Look, I don't have...
Y'all online, she all up, Hey, I'm like, ass get.
And I agree. I'm actually happy that was a beautiful jaguar, by the way. Yeah. But I'm happy that they're not putting the jaguar down. And as the zoo said, the jaguar did nothing wrong.
Right.
The jaguar did nothing wrong. And so but this kind of speaks to the culture. I think it was something, a couple of months ago, there was a story of someone who fell off of a cliff, trying to take a selfie.
Yeah,
right. Both of them died.
That was with a tiger, yeah.
Guess what?
No, I'm not.
No!
What were they rolling?
Damn it! It's
What were they
a clip.
rolling?
It's a clip. Look, you walk over, you go, that's a long ass drop. You know what? We gonna take the picture over here. Sorry. If your dumb ass fell down a cliff for a selfie, it was time for your ass to go.
Oh,
y'all, it's a cliff. A cliff. Black people, we would have did this here. Say, we're taking a picture by the road. We're going to have a background behind. How much more background do you need behind you? It's a cliff.
Mother, mom.
Here, we go to my iPad. This Jaguar girl getting eaten. This right here. This the video. Y'all can pull it up. Her crying. It's audio. You see all that? Hey, I'm telling y'all right now. Ro ain't got no sympathy. None. None. That's all I'm saying. If this was me, I'd been going, dumbass, the hell were you thinking? What, you crying? Shut up. You almost hurt the Jaguar. I'm sorry, it's a barrier. You wanted a damn selfie, okay? Next time you want a selfie and you get eaten up, guess what? Munch. I'll be back.
It's a black Jaguar at that.
Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. All right, y'all, calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders, including Black Jaguars at Southern. Enter the Ford Motor Company HBCU Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Building on their long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve mobility in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant of up to $25,000 to implement their proposal. The deadline to apply is March 31st, 2019. Go to FGB.Life right here, FGB.Life for more information and to apply. Ford goes further in our community. All right, y'all, we got to get to this story. I know we went long on the top two stories, but, you know, we had to deal with all them white folks trying to buy their way and dumb kids into college. But let's deal with this here because some of y'all black people have really pushed the line. White people do this stuff too, but I don't know. Okay, so this photo, okay, went around social media, and the caption said, grades dropped from A's to F's. Parents, y'all agree with this? Now, apparently, some black parents are using social media to shame their children. But it's not just black parents. You got white parents also making their kids hold signs, my dumb ass flunked, and stuff along those lines. But a lot of these times we see these stories, it's some black parents are using public humiliation. The question for y'all, is it a good idea? I mean, the George Jefferson haircut was like, that was rough. But what do you think?
Absolutely not. And in the piece, it mentioned something about a village, and I think that because there is a real lean into posting without really kind of critical consideration, that these are the kind of outputs that we get. But in the time that I grew up, there were a village of people, being my grandparents, aunts, and uncles, that could, you know, at a time that my parents were going to chastise or punish me, have that type of conversation as to kind of like what would be the best course, especially when they were very, very heated. But this is too much. They really need.
Yeah, and I think this is the social media era that we're in. You know, I remember growing up when I decided to cut my own hair with a razor, and my mother, instead of taking me to the barber, told me to go. I'm gonna go right on to school.
Let your ass walk around with it.
She let me walk right on around with it. But I have no doubt that my mother, even now, would never post that on social media. And I think that that's part of what the problem is. You know, I don't think it's fair to.
So what you're saying is, do the haircut, don't post it.
Right.
So you saying you cool with, don't put it back.
Oh, no,
you
no,
fine with
and
the
I take that
haircut,
back.
just don't post it.
But take the haircut.
I take that back. In my case, I cut my own hair.
Okay, got it.
I don't even understand.
Go ahead.
I think it's kind of like a millennial extension of like the system that was in place before it. Like, you know, my dad had no problem coming up to the school if I was acting up and embarrassing me in front of the whole class. I feel like this is just like another extension of that, but just kind of like in the millennial age. But I think it is possible to go too far. Like, she could mess up his hairline for the rest of his life. Like, I think there are
It'll go back. Your ass ain't right for that. Go ahead, Eris, you ain't right for that. She worried about his future damn hairline. Okay. Monique, go ahead.
The haircut itself is cruel, and probably not the most suitable form of trying to get a child to correct poor performance in school, to put them in a case where they're going to be shamed day after day after day and perhaps perform even worse, and you really don't want fear-based good performing in school either. But then to post it on social media opens up your children to a level of public ridicule and danger.
Right.
And people posting their children a lot on social media, I talk about that anyway, because there are just really sick people out here who find out way too much information from social media. But I don't think it's just social media shaming. I think if they had done it and took them in front of the church, or done it and took them in front of an entire convention, it still would be an embarrassment and shaming. And my parents really did believe in correction going on inside of the home. And if I did something wrong, that was my behind.
Right.
If my daddy had to get off work to come to that school, I'm with you.
Right.
It was going to be a situation. But children are humans. They're smaller humans. They're not objects. They're not owned because we have the gift and the blessing to be able to raise them. So I try to treat my children like they actually have a spirit inside them, the spirit of the living God, and the way that I respond to them goes along with me recognizing that I was put here in order to cover and care for them. So I don't do things.
Y'all done? Y'all done?
Well, I
Brother
was
Presley over there.
Monique's point about the danger piece is that then we have seen that there has been an uptick in suicide among young black children, and so because everything and so because social media has an infinite life, that this would definitely, this is not a way that you would actually correct a child.
Let me be real clear, okay? Your ass have all A's, and you go to all F's, stand in my house, jacking your ass up. See, I just firmly believe you got to lay down some rules. Like, so for instance, when two of my nieces, we were in Chicago, and they decided they didn't want to bring their homework home. And so I said, okay, here's the deal. I said, if you don't bring your homework, I'm going to whoop your ass. Now, some of y'all out there, y'all probably say, oh, I don't believe in corporal punishment. That's your damn business, but you ain't in my house. And so my niece, I said, now, repeat it back to me. If you don't bring your homework, they said, we gonna get a whooping. I said, no, I'm gonna beat your ass. Repeat it after me. And so then what happened? Next day, one of my nieces did not bring her homework home. I said, you ain't bring your homework home? She said, no. I said, do you recall the conversation we had yesterday? What's going to happen? You don't bring your homework home? She says, yeah. What's going to happen? She says, I'm going to catch a whipping. Precisely. I'll be right back. So then they were all, they howling and screaming. I ain't really feel like hearing all that. Because the bottom line is I told you, little ass, what was going to happen because you decided to be your own grown-ass person in middle school and you didn't want to bring your homework home. Now, here was a trip. Their younger sisters who were twins at the time, they were like 7. I could hear them. No, they were like 4. I could hear them in the bathtub going, Uncle Roro told them they bring their homework home, they going to catch a whooping. I don't know what they were thinking. See, they were figuring that out. See, I get we are sitting here saying, well, no, we don't want to embarrass the kids. But here's the other deal. We got some kids who think they little ass is grown. We got some kids who want to act a fool because you done sitting here, spent money, raising them, clothing them, feeding them, trying to do the right thing, and they little bad asses want to do something different when it comes to the classroom. Now, I don't know if I would have gone as far with the George Jefferson haircut, but if a kid acted a fool, I ain't got a problem making their ass stay on the corner holding a sign that said, I fail all my classes because I was sitting here being bad. It's just like when you have somebody say, no, you're going to walk your behind home. Here's what I also understand. You remember being embarrassed, and you don't necessarily want to go through that experience again. you remember acting a fool. Say, I ain't down with grounding. I'm going to take your phone. No. I need you to feel this thing. And I just think part of the problem is we got some soft-ass parents out here, and we got some soft kids out here who want to play games. The deal is this here. You got finite years to get your stuff together in school. We ain't got time for games. And there's a whole bunch of black parents out here who been busting their behind, providing for their kids. Now, figure out what's going on, how'd you go from A to F. Now, some of y'all out there saying, oh, it could be something in the home, it could be psychological, it could be something they're going through. But let's also be real honest. We got some kids who choose to make some dumbass decisions. You might have a good home, everything is taken care of, but they want to be bratty. And sometimes you got to push the envelope when you're dealing with some bratty kids. So I'm not necessarily going to say you should not publicly shame your child. You should think about it. You should really consider it. But if it gets your child's attention and that little boy decides to make A's next semester, sound to me like that embarrassment helps. And if you disagree, fine. Send me an email, make a video. I'll play it tomorrow. If you disagree with spanking, agree with it as well. But even though my nieces are grown, I whoop their ass right now. Don't act a fool. Don't act a fool. Because, see, my daddy is 72. He'll be 72 in April. I'm 50. I'm still scared of his ass. I saw his forearms. I'm like, I ain't messing with that Negro because he's crazy. See, fear still works at 50. Daddy put the fear in me when I was about 5. It's been there for 45 years. So I disagree when they say fear don't work. Love to hear your thoughts, folks. I want to thank all our panelists here. I want to thank Monique, Harris, Malik, and Erica, and also all of you rich white folks trying to buy your kids into school. Guess what? Maybe had just shaved their dumbasses' heads when they were in elementary school. You with me trying to spend $500,000 trying to buy their ass into the schools today. But see, that's what happened when y'all want to have that new damn parenting. All right, y'all want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Do me a favor, please. Go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. I told y'all, this is the realest show out here. Ain't no other black show like this here. Okay, I'm letting y'all know right now. Nothing on broadcast or cable. We keep it real, and we talk about real issues on this show. Support us by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar you give, whether it's $5, $50, or $500, goes to support this show. We're going to be broadcasting Friday from Los Angeles. XQ America is having their school initiative. We'll be broadcasting from there at 6 p.m. Eastern. My one-on-one with Erica Ash. We're talking about voting, talking about empowerment. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern, we'll be broadcasting our XQ America special from Los Angeles. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's running for president, she will be joining us. Interview I will have with her tomorrow. Also, Senator Doug Jones, a new book out. I'll be talking to him tomorrow as well. So we got a pack week for you as well, folks. And again, make this happen because when we fund our freedom, we are able to have the conversations that we want to have in our own unique way. And all you rich white folks out there, tell your kids, study hard, or your ass might go to jail trying to bribe their way into school. Holla! You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play.
Martin.